to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now. 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Just like that, we're back, we're live, we're brand new, and we are literally live. That's right, it's Monday. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. We're live at Bill Penny Toyota, sitting out here in the service department where their doors are opening even as we speak. The car's starting to pull in here to the service department. Every car is welcome here at the Bill Penny Toyota Service Department. Let them service your vehicles Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. They'll take care of all of your service needs. And don't forget, you can also mosey on up to the showroom, test drive a brand new Toyota for a chance to win $5,000. What a weekend it was. What a busy weekend in college sports, as you had plenty of college baseball going on, the NCAA baseball tournament kicking up into high gear. You had the Women's College World Series going on in Oklahoma City. We're going to talk a lot about all of that. 256-576-4977. You can join us throughout the morning. And we do start with the college baseball journey to Omaha. And let's start with our Tallahassee regional. Alabama falls to UCF in their first game 8-7, and then falls to Stetson 4-0. So Alabama gets there. They get there, Drew, but they go 0-2.
0-2 barbecue. Don't have enough pitching. It's like I said, they didn't have enough quality pitching to get through, and then their offense cooled off against Stetson. Stetson made 2 or 3 great defensive plays with runners on to keep Alabama from scoring in game 2. They had a chance with the bases loaded in the first inning as well. T.J. McCants struck out. So if they had gotten off to a better start, perhaps it's a different game. But they probably should have been 1-0 for the majority of the game, but Alabama made some defensive mistakes. Had some unfortunate luck, and Stetson was able to add, 2 to 3 more runs and have a decent cushion there. But Alabama just couldn't generate anything offensively in the second game. First game, couldn't pitch. I mean, they swung the bats well. They gave up 2 in the first inning, and then hit a 3-run homer of their own by Cade Snell. And then tied it at 4. Justin LeBron hit a tying homer, and then T.J. McCants hit a bomb to put them up 5-4. But every time it would happen, the pitching would give it back. They couldn't get a shutdown inning. They just had too many square pegs and round holes. They were not a good defensive team. They were not a good pitching staff.
Well, Rob Vaughn put this roster together. I mean, he had to piece this one together.
He did. It was year one. There's always a transition under a new coaching staff.
Right.
They only had one position player that came back. And that was Matt Gassetti, one of the better catchers in the SEC, especially defensively as a receiver. But he was the only regular back. And really, honestly, the pitching staff had to be rebuilt from the starting staff, perspective. And then 2 of their guys that they were counting on that were kind of shutdown guys the year before and did a good job for the latter part of the season struggled most of the year this year. And that was Aiden Mose and Alton Davis. Both had bright moments, but they weren't consistent. And, Braylon Myers was probably the most consistent reliever. The bullpen was a constant issue all year, being able to shut other teams down. And that's what I was worried about going into the regional. I thought Alabama's ceiling, if they swung the bats well enough, and really, honestly, if they had pitched at all, they would have beaten UCF. Right. I thought they could potentially get to Florida State because and I would have thought they would have lost to Florida State's ace in game 2. But then, you probably would have gotten UCF again. There's a chance I think they could have won that game. UCF ended up beating Stetson 5-2, and then I believe Florida State eliminated them yesterday.
Yeah, 12-4 was the final there.
I thought Alabama might have ended up back in the final, best case, but beating Florida State, no. I just didn't think they had a good enough ball club because they would have had to have some guys really throw much, much better than they had all year long, and they just never did. They one of their better transfers, Bobby Alcock from the portal, never pitched an inning. He was hurt. Riley Quick gave him 3 innings. Hagen Banks, I want to say he gave him less than 10. They had some guys they were counting on that they just, and they didn't have the depth.
Right.
And when these guys went down, because Greg Ferrone came in as a transfer from Louisville, but he went 1-4 at Louisville. He wasn't a frontline guy. Had a good year at Alabama relatively. But again, he ended up being the Friday night guy. Zane Adams, a freshman, developed into one of their top 3. And then Ben Hess was supposed to be one of the better ones in the league and really started off well. And then SEC play started, and he struggled. And then down the stretch, he pitched much better and really deserved a better fate than what he got against Stetson. But it's just one of those things, man. Alabama just wasn't good enough. And I think Rob Vaughn had a solid first year. They're just going to have to continue to recruit, attack the portal. They're going to have to get some more depth in the pitching staff there for the Tide next year if they want to make a run in a regional.
Just how important, and ask yourself this on a Monday morning, how important is depth in college baseball? They don't have a unlimited amount of arms they can throw out there. Just ask Arkansas that. They lose Hagen Smith for a start, and then they also lose their number 2, Brady Tigert, in their regional. They have none of those available, and Arkansas is bounced from regional play. I mean, it's depth in college baseball is a huge factor.
Hagen did pitch. He just got his brains knocked out. He pitched in game 2 against Kansas State.
Right.
I watched it. He had a meltdown inning. He started out great. He no-hit him for about 3 innings and then gave up a 6-run inning, and by the time that happened, it was enough for K-State to hang on and win 7-6. When he lost, this is a winner's bracket game. Arkansas had beaten SEMO 17-9 in game 1 and outslugged them. They were cruising up 2-0 in the middle of the ball game, and then Hagen just all of a sudden walked a couple guys. And then there was a couple of quality at-bats from K-State that knocked in a couple runs to tie it. They manufactured the 3rd run, and then their Thor, the God of Thunder, came up, their best player, and he took Hagen deep and got over the wall by inches. Right fielder almost came up with it at the wall, but I thought he lost his glove, but the ball got over the wall, and this was all with the 2 outs too, by the way. And so it ended up being 6-2 by the time they put the fire out. And Arkansas threatened but never could. Right. They got to within 7-6. And then we're down 7-4. Hit a 2-run homer to make it 7-6, and then just could not get over the hump. And I mean, once they lost that game, I think it took a lot out of them because Hagen had been the best pitcher in the SEC. You could argue the best pitcher in America. He had just been so shut down, and they were counting on getting into the winner's bracket and waiting on SEMO or whoever to come out of there to play them yesterday. And instead, it kind of reminded me of Alabama. Like Alabama went back and forth with UCF, could not get over the hump to beat them, and really, you could say flat, but look, they just had a hard time getting against Stetson, and they put pressure on Stetson. But when you're up to the challenge, when you make diving catches in left field, when you make diving catches down the line at first base, a lot of times it takes the wind out of your sails as another team. And I think basically when Hagen Banks lost, I think that took a lot out of Arkansas. Now, I didn't see the elimination game. I saw they lost 6-3, but it didn't shock me because SEMO was pretty scrappy. Because here's the crazy thing: Arkansas was up 8-0 early against SEMO. Before you know it, it's 8-8.
Yeah, Southeast Missouri State.
And then Arkansas pulled away, won 17-9. But you already knew that this Southeast Missouri team was pretty good, and so Arkansas couldn't get back up, lost at home. I think it's probably the biggest surprise to me of the weekend. Yeah, Arkansas not getting out of their regional.
For the second consecutive year, Kentucky, the Wildcats, they're no good, by the way, in case you've just heard. They're into the Super Regional for the second straight year. This year, however, they get to host for the first time in school history. Kentucky will host a super regional. Yep. So Kentucky is through. So there is one good SEC note. Tennessee, the Volunteers, they are the number one seed in all of this. They are trying to do something that has not been done since 98?
Yeah.
That is have the number one overall seed win a college baseball national championship. Miami, the last school to do so. They cruise into the super regionals, does Tennessee. And Tony Vitello in the last 4 years at Tennessee, 203-60, 12-0 in regionals, 350-win seasons, 4 straight super regionals, 2 SEC regular season championships, 2 SEC tournament championships, 2 College World Series appearances, and obviously players drafted into the majors. One of those, Jordan Beck, who had his debut this year already in the big leagues. The one thing missing from that resume is that national championship, and Tony Vitello and company looked really good in their regional play.
Yeah, they did. I expected them to win. Them in Kentucky and Georgia eased through theirs, and they were SEC teams that were high national seeds. Again, I was surprised at Arkansas. I thought they would do better. I thought they would handle it better. I thought they would. I thought they would advance. That was probably, to me, the biggest shocker. But I got to say, Florida has really acquitted themselves well in Stillwater, and I'm not totally surprised by that. I kept telling everybody if they just got away from SEC competition, it might help them. If they did beat Oklahoma State yesterday and have forced a what-if game at 2 o'clock today on ESPNU, Oklahoma State and Florida, the winner goes to the Super Regional. So the Gators are still alive. One of the biggest surprises of the weekend, and I told you that I thought the regional, but it's not the team I was focused on, but I thought the East Carolina regional might be open for business, and it has been, but Evansville has been the surprise. They were the 4 seed, and they beat East Carolina 4-1 the first game. Then got into the finals, but East Carolina did beat them the first game last night. They have forced a what-if game. So you'd have to favor East Carolina right now, being at home, but still Evansville's acquitted themselves very well. And then LSU, this is not well. I told you that North Carolina didn't like seeing them.
Yeah,
LSU got whacked the first time around, but they came back around last night to win 8-4. And they had a couple of tight battles at LSU with Wofford.
Yeah,
but they put Wofford away, and now LSU forces the what-if game with North Carolina. So
tonight that will be at 5 o'clock on ESPN2.
It's going to be interesting because there are a couple more SEC teams still alive.
I mean, Texas A&M did their business.
Yeah.
I mean, so let's just say this. Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Georgia were the top 3 teams pretty much all year in the SEC.
And Arkansas.
3 of those 4 get through. Texas A&M looks every bit as good as they have been advertised as. Georgia needed a little momentum there late to go against Georgia Tech. They needed a little push
to come back,
and they got the win.
But
they're through. So Texas A&M, Georgia, and Tennessee, they all look good. They all look like they are maybe in line to get to Omaha.
Well, we'll see. I certainly think that A&M got pushed by Texas. It was a crazy extra inning game before A&M finally won on a walk-off and beat Texas. And so they were able – and then Texas had a hangover, same kind of hangover Arkansas did, because I watched some of that. Louisiana just thrashed Texas in the elimination game. Louisiana got to A&M, but A&M was – I mean, A&M look, I've said all year that I like their ball club as much as any in the country. They're really, really good. And so I wasn't surprised that A&M got through. I will say this. Alabama went 0-2 barbecue, but another team that did that surprised me was Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt they just did not play well at all. I mean, they got thrashed in the first round, and then and I watched some of that game, and then they had a 5-0 lead against High Point and couldn't hold it. Ended up losing the game 10-9. They gave up 9 straight. Were down 9-5. Tied it at 9, and then High Point was able to walk it off, win it 10-9. So a disappointing end for Vanderbilt as well, and I thought Vanderbilt had a chance to potentially make a run in their regional, but Vandy just really, really struggled. And they got a tough draw. We all know Coastal Carolina's.
Well, we're going to hear from Coastal Carolina We're going to hear from their head coach.
They didn't advance, but they were a pain in the rear end like they always are, man. And Gary Gilmore, who won a national championship, as you remember, in 2016, he's had some cancer. He's had some health problems, and he had already planned to retire at the end of this year. And his shoes are going to be tough to fill, man, because he had about a 30 or 29-year run there and, man, had a great program over there at Coastal.
Mississippi State also bows out as well. How about this, though? It's the first time they've been eliminated from the regionals in a decade.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't make it last year. They either make it through or they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's feast or famine with Mississippi State. So
they lost a really tough game on a walk-off to Virginia the first time around. Then they battled back to get back to the finals in a rematch and couldn't come out on top. But if they could have stayed in the winner's bracket, I think they would have been in really good shape. But they could not quite hang on to beat UVA the first time around.
All right, let's get to Jeff in the Borough real fast before we get to our break. Good morning, Jeff.
How's it going, guys?
Good, man.
What about? I know it was a wild weekend, so our teams. Kentucky played the last two games. They played really good. The first game, I mean, they're lucky they won the first game. The three teams they played, Western Michigan's best team they played. Them two, I mean, Illinois, they're good, but I mean, they got great pitching the last two games and won, fairly. I mean, not convincingly, but enough. They shut out Indiana State. They had scored 15 the previous game, and you shut them out. They won 40 games, but they played all right. I know they're going to play. They're going to play Oregon State or UC Irvine in the Super Regional. So, and they're going to host. I don't know what they'll do. But what I was going to say is, I was watching some this weekend too. And what about? And I can't remember who they played to put them out now. But what about Wake Forest getting put out?
Yeah, they lost two heartbreakers as well. They didn't.
I mean, they
were a 2 seed.
Last one a while. I can't remember who walked them off the second time, but it was out over 7-6 or 8 to something like 8.
It was East Carolina actually. They lost one. Wake Forest lost a 1-0 game, I believe it was, to VCU, and then they turn around and they lose 7-6 to East Carolina. So they lost a couple of heartbreakers. The team that was the number one team in the country last year going into Omaha.
Number one that lost. Yeah. But that kind of surprised me too, as far as he could put out. And then I want to say, I know y'all probably talked about it this last week on your show. I listened to a little bit of it. But what about Birmingham Southern?
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. I mean, it was a great run for them. Yeah. I mean,
I can't believe the school's closing up, but what a run for them going to the World Series and almost
no doubt
winning that one game walk off and all that stuff. But I don't know what financial problems y'all probably know more about than anybody. But as far as how they had to close up with money wise and things of that nature, but just for them kids to be able to make a World Series and to play like that. I mean, I was reading social media, and everybody, there wasn't a person that wasn't against them. I mean, everybody was
rooting for them.
Everybody wanted them to win, but no, I mean, I guess ACC did all right. You got 5 teams put out and 4 left. You got 2. If I had to pick today, I'd pick North Carolina, Oklahoma State to win both of them. I was just saying, playing at their place. I mean, so I don't know. 4. You got 4 that's advanced. To me, Georgia's not that. They're okay. They're not. They got one good hitter. If you shut him down, then I don't think they're all that great. But we'll see. I mean, you got 16 teams left, and 4 of the SEC, ACC did pretty good too. So hang in there, guys. Enjoy your show.
Thanks, Jeff. All right, let's get a break in. We'll dissect some more of that and talk some college softball. Talk a lot of stuff on Talkin' Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show. followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army.
Seasons change. Why not your tech? Upgrade now during the Dell Technologies Summer Sale event and save on select PCs like the XPS 16 powered by Intel Core processors. You'll be able to bring your most intensive projects to life with built-in AI, minimalistic design, immersive visuals, and cinematic audio. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics plus free shipping on everything. Amazing prices await you for a limited time only at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We're live. We're live this morning from Bill Penny Toyota, sitting out here in the service department, hanging out with everyone from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. this morning. Well, the service department's open until 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday they're open from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. We've been talking some NCAA baseball. The opening weekend is in the books. Super Regionals pretty much all set. Got a few games today. Women's College World Series also going on in Oklahoma City. Alabama, tough road there as they drop that first game to UCLA, but they come back, fight their way back, but fall to rival SEC Florida yesterday.
They did. They beat Duke 2-1 and was able to advance to the losers bracket final, so to speak, to try to get to the Final Four. They played a really good Florida ball club, lost a tough one 6-4. They had 7 hits. They threatened throughout the game and brought the go-ahead run to the plate late, too. Just could not quite get the big hit. Florida got the big hit. Erickson, really the catcher for the Gators, really hurt Alabama. She had an RBI base hit early, and then Alabama went to Aaliyah Johnson, the Fairhope native and transfer from LSU. Yeah. They went their third. She was their third pitcher because, of course, Caleb Beaver started, gave them 4 innings. They put in Jocelyn Brisky, and then Brisky got into a little trouble, but there were still 2 outs. It was 2 out hitting again. They decided to go to Aaliyah Johnson. She gave up a 3-run homer to Erickson. It dug a 6-2 hole. Alabama came back to score 2 more, bringing the go-ahead run to the plate. Just could not quite get over the hump. Tough loss for Coach Murphy and the ladies, man. They were trying to get back to the Final Four and be the last SEC team standing. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but a great run for them. They ended the year with 39 wins in the top 6 in the country, and certainly really played well down the stretch, played their best softball at the best time. And I thought offensively, once Marley Giles came back from the broken arm/forearm, she was big in the playoffs in the World Series. I thought Bailey Dowling went out swinging the bat well. She's, of course, a senior. They've got they have 5 sophomores that played a lot that are coming back, but they're losing, I believe, 8 seniors. So they're losing. They had a senior group. Kayla Beaver had a huge impact out of Central Arkansas. She was an All-American for them this year in the circle, and certainly they'll have Jocelyn Brisky coming back and Aaliyah Johnson, and I'm sure they'll attack the transfer portal as well. And they've already got a transfer from Northern Iowa lined up. But it's going to be interesting.
Which is Patrick Murphy's alma mater, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
He's played.
And mine.
He also coached at Northern Iowa, so before he came to Alabama. So she's a utility player. She's caught some. She's got really good power numbers. So it'll be interesting to see how Alabama retools. But they had a really, really good run, man, and nearly made the Final Four after a lot of people, including myself, didn't even think they'd get to host a regional. They got to host. They won it. They won the Supers and then sent Tennessee home, which was a great accomplishment for this squad. And certainly you'd have loved to seen them get to Oklahoma and give it a shot. They would have had to beat Oklahoma twice today, which is Florida's job now. But right now, Stanford won the weight game 3-1 and sent UCLA home. So Stanford will have to beat Texas twice.
Yes, that's the nightcap game, 6 o'clock game there.
It's looking like an all Big 12 final, which is going to be a future SEC. Both be SEC teams, Texas and OU. We'll see if Stanford and Florida can win twice, but that's going to be a tall order against those 2 squads.
I did watch Oklahoma and UCLA. I watched a little bit of that game, and I'll just say this. Oklahoma is not unbeatable. I mean, they're going for their 4th straight. They do make some mistakes. They do allow runners on base. The thing is when they get runners on there, Oklahoma is very, very good in not allowing one mistake to become 2 mistakes. They'll make a mistake here and there, but they don't let 1 become 2 and 2 become 3. But Texas has never won this, I don't believe.
No,
so they are going for their first national championship. Oklahoma, more than likely, will be playing for their 4th straight national championship.
They made some deep runs when they had Kat Osterman about a decade ago.
Yeah.
Kat Osterman was an All-American and arguably was one of the better pitchers of her era, and at one time may have been the best pitcher in the country, but they had trouble scoring with her. She'd do a great job, but they had trouble generating offense. So we'll see, no question about it. This would be their first championship. They did beat Oklahoma in the regular season, so they have slayed that dragon. They were the number 1 overall national seed because of their head-to-head success against OU. So we'll see. It's very likely going to be a Red River shootout. I mean, you don't ever want to downplay Florida and Tim Walton.
No.
He's won 2 championships. He won them back-to-back in 14 and 15. So they're going to give it their best shot. And then we know that Stanford, they've got the National Player of the Year in the circle. She's really good. And she's pitched pretty well down there now, but we'll see. But certainly one thing we did see, probably the most impressive game of the tournament, just from a single performance, was this weekend. Texas just thrashing Florida 10-0. That surprised me. I wouldn't have expected it to be that one-sided. Florida's a really good ball club, but we'll see. But definitely when you have a situation where you have to lose twice, you've got to say that Texas and Oklahoma are in the driver's seat to meet in the finals starting on Wednesday.
All right, 7:30 here on a Monday morning. A little look there at the Women's College Softball World Series. So we've talked college baseball. We've talked women's college softball. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll throw in some college football conversation. Plus, we will check in with Gary Gilmore from Coastal Carolina. Had some interesting comments to say about college baseball over the weekend.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandyman. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Electrical for your generator needs? 1. We offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2. Our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3. Our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at superstore.com.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at 5. Bingo every Monday night too starting at 7. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
Everything you need is just a click away.
I should come up sometime, see me.
Okay, almost everything.
Come on, I'll tell you a fortune.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. 977 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back into the show. Monday morning, 7:34 on a Monday morning. And just so that you don't think that we have forgotten, we don't want anybody to forget, college football, 82 days, 4 hours, 25 minutes, and 38 seconds till we kick off the new season in college football. And last week it was SEC spring meetings in Destin coming up in a little over a month. We will have SEC Media Days from Dallas, Texas. Make sure you join 97.7 ESPN The Zone as we will be there and have that week-long event for you starting in mid-July. That'll be the next big, I guess you could say, big event for college football, and that'll be in July. We are also 14 days away from the second version, or the second annual Woody Anderson Ford Rocket City Awards, presented by the Huntsville Sports Commission. That'll be taking place over at Mars Music Hall on Monday, June 17th. Now, that is where we honor the best in high school athletics. And it's where we crown our high school athlete of the year on the boys and girls side, our team of the year on the boys and girls side, our coaches of the year. It's also where we crown our college athletes of the year for the area, our professional athlete of the year. And, you know, we also hand out the Billy Neighbors Lifetime Achievement Award winner. And, you know, we've been told that we can say that Van Pettaway will be our Lifetime Achievement Award winner for all his accomplishments there as the longtime 25-year run as head coach of the Alabama A&M Bulldogs.
Yep, he did a great job on making them a power on the Division II level and then helping them transition to D1 and reaching the big dance and the first A&M team to do that.
Yep.
As they were in the first four against Oakland, which, by the way, that's the same Oakland that beat Kentucky. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, he had a great run, got to several Elite Eights with Alabama A&M, and they were fun to watch, huge crowds, a lot of energy. Coach Pettaway's been a stalwart in our community for many, many years and stayed close to the game even after his retirement from Alabama A&M, and certainly a very, very deserving recipient of our Billy Neighbors Lifetime Achievement Award that went to Coach Ronnie Stapler a year ago in our inaugural event.
All right, so that is coming up. 97.7 WZZN events at gmail.com. That's 97.7 WZZN events at gmail.com. If you want to send an email there, you can. If you don't want to write that email address down, give Bailey a call, 256-576-4977. He will spell it out for you over the phone if that's a little easier. But we want anybody to come. So single tickets are available. It is a fun night. Mars Music Hall. We'll get you in. We'll get you out. It'll be a fantastic night. It's a way to honor a lot of these high school athletes in the area. And last year, I tell you what, it was very impressive to sit through and watch. It was a fun night. Let's go out to the phone lines. Shane Sean is with us this morning. Good morning, Shane Sean.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Good.
Boy, old Jeff, he kind of like did a 360. He even said he enjoyed y'all's show, didn't he?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. He said,
this was like when Jeff first started calling. He had actually, I actually enjoyed his call this morning for the first time in a year and a half.
Yeah, I actually watched the Kentucky games, too, because they won.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it. Well, that is true. The reason why I called. Yeah, y'all remember Logan Anderson for 5, right?
Yes. Yep. He's had a heck of a week.
He's had he's been a beast.
He went to Georgia. Well, he's been to Georgia twice, and then Kirby called him right after the day after and offered him a full ride. And then he went to Auburn yesterday, and they pulled him off the field, took him to Hugh's office, and he offered him a full ride. He goes to Clemson tomorrow and Ole Miss on Wednesday, and he's really waiting on that LSU call, though. That's where he wants to go.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's his number one school.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he is the biggest profile recruit. I mean, it's surprising. I mean, of all the state title runs that Paul Benefield has had, the state title teams, all the great players that he has had, this is the highest profile recruit that he's had among all of them.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, no doubt. And I can't believe he's even considering Auburn as bad as they did his brother Peyton. I mean, they did him wrong, but it's new staff, so maybe that's the reason.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any visits to Alabama lined up. I'm assuming that
he got a phone call. He got DeBoer called him, and
Yeah.
He has no interest in going to Alabama at all.
That's what it seemed like to me, because I certainly had I knew his brother Peyton went to Auburn for a short period of time, and I saw where he got the offer from Auburn. He got the offer from Georgia. I figured there was probably no interest on his part to go to Alabama.
No, he don't. He said for years and years he just don't want to go to Alabama.
Gotcha.
But I mean, that boy is a beast. And he ran a 4.44 yesterday at Auburn, and they're not even wanting him for running back. Nobody's wanting him for running back. They're all wanting him for
linebacker.
Defense. Yep.
I saw him listed as a linebacker by the Auburn contingent when he did it, when he had the really good workout.
At Georgia, they let him work out with the team, and the very first play on D, he had an interception his first play.
He's a great player.
He is. Yeah, I mean, that boy, I remember when he was little, his brother Peyton, Peyton was always the talk of everybody around here. And he's like, Peyton, he said, I'm going to be way better than him. He always said it. And what's weird is he's the most down-to-earth, quiet, and I'm having a little brain freeze right here. I can't remember the word that it is, but I mean, he don't brag about nothing. Absolutely.
Right. You're talking about humble?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the most humble kid you'll ever meet in your life.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe he'll get that LSU offer. A lot of times if Georgia offers you, it's like when Alabama used to offer you. A lot of schools fall in line. If he goes to a workout at LSU, perhaps he'll get that offer.
Well, yeah. I mean, if Georgia offers you, then Auburn offers you. Chances are you're probably going to get in line to an LSU offer.
Yeah, I mean that's what he said. He said that for 2-3 years. He just always wanted to go to LSU for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope he gets the offer, man.
All right, thanks, Shane Sean.
Appreciate it.
I do too. That's where he wants. See you.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, what a week, though. I mean, talk about a rise, and then that's what camps are for, though, right? I mean, that's where a lot of times
he's overcome a lot. He had a bad knee injury over a year ago, and he had to come back from it. But he came back strong last year and was a monster and won another state championship. He's pretty much unstoppable on the 1, 2A, 3A level. He dominates every game. He doesn't play a ton of defense with 5. He plays mostly running back, but he is just a force.
Right.
He's been their most high-profile guy, and I knew several months ago that I guess it was during the beginning of spring that he went to see Kirby at Georgia, and then came back because summer camps had just started. He got that offer quickly from UGA. That was actually his first major offer. And then I heard that he had gone to Auburn for their camp. And I knew about his brother Peyton had been at Auburn for a short period of time, no longer on the squad. But and then I wasn't surprised they offered him. And I saw the film of him running the 4.4. And he's a 225-pound plus athlete, man, and he's a beast. And I thought it was interesting too. They listed him as a linebacker when he was running the 40s, and so he's been such a force at running back. He kind of reminds me of Jacob Hester, who of course was from Shreveport Evangel, a smaller private school, but he ended up he was going to go to Texas until Nick Saban took over at LSU, and LSU was able to flip him from Texas, and the rest is history. He was a great player there. He was one of the first people Saban kind of eyeballed and said, look, we need to be offering this kid. I don't know why we haven't. And so he was able to flip Jacob Hester, and Hester was a great player for LSU. And maybe perhaps, Logan Anderson gets that offer from the Tigers and follows in his footsteps.
All right, 7:45 on a Monday morning, 256-576. 4977, that's the number of the phone lines. You can join us on a Monday morning. We're live from Bill Penny Toyota, sitting out here in the service department. They're open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. They can service all your vehicle's needs. We do need to get a break in. When we come back, let's wrap up hour 1 of Talking Ball. 97.7 ESPN, the Zone.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandyman. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Harmonize. Whether you're seeking a laid-back lunch or a lively dinner with friends, our diverse menu has something to please every palate. With a commitment to quality and a passion for innovation, we invite you to savor the unique flavors of Huntsville's craft beer scene at the Brewers Cooperative. Call 256-678-7036. The Brewers Cooperative.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond, 7:48 on a Monday morning. And again, 256-576-4977. You can join the phone lines this morning. And it's been a conversation wherever you go. It doesn't matter what sport. It doesn't matter if it's baseball, football, basketball. Good coaches are retiring. Good coaches are leaving the game. Gary Gilmore is leaving the game. A lot of it is health reasons with Gary Gilmore. He's the head baseball coach, Coastal Carolina. And
he did this a couple of years ago, announcing that this season was going to be his last. So this is kind of in the plans.
And he brought a national championship.
He did.
And there's something we can ask about that coming out of this as well. But here is Gary Gilmore after his team's loss in the regionals.
Mm-hmm. How the system worked. Everyone was a free agent every year. Do you realize what chaos would be? It would go away. You wouldn't have those three sports. If you did, baseball, it'd be the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, Texas, and the rest of the teams couldn't compete because they would spend every amount of money they needed to spend to do it. And that's what's going on right now. There's not a level playing field. It's just ridiculous for me. Much as I'm going to miss the kids, and I'm going to miss the heck out of them, dealing with that mess, I'm telling you right now, I mean, the fact that there are teams in college baseball giving $2+ million of NIL money away. I mean, come on, man. It's just, a real system would be one where they get a little bit of money, but then they put money in trust and this and that, so that you don't have the horror stories you see in the NFL and in different places. Major League Baseball gets big signing bonuses, and boom, 5-10 years later they're broke. They don't have a dime. They don't have an education. They don't have anything. I mean, there has to be a better way. It's not just who can raise the most money and give it away. There has to be a better way, because, like I said, professional sports would go in the toilet in a hurry if we use this system. I mean, this is me as a college coach. This is what I have to deal with. You can sign your returning players to a scholarship which binds you to them, but they come around in July and go, I'm going to go in the portal. I'm up in the Cape and somebody's going to give me a big NIL deal, and you were held accountable, coach. You had to honor that scholarship you gave me, but now I'm going to go in the portal and leave you hanging. That's a messed up system. I hope somebody fixes it. I'm be honest with you, that part I'm going to enjoy that, to be very honest with you.
Yeah,
there you go.
I don't blame him. I mean, I think there should be something said about if you sign your scholarship papers that you're bound to be there, and then you can't just bail at the last minute unless you graduate. I mean, but if you go, like he's saying, you go to the Cape, and all of a sudden, LSU came, they want to offer me, and I'm going to call them out because they've been poaching people from all over the place, and they poached Alabama would have been a lot better with Luke Holman this year, but they got Luke Holman. Luke Holman lost, which was glorious, watching him throw up all over himself. And I certainly enjoyed that. The LSU's one regional loss was with Luke Holman doing what he did at Alabama several times, striking out 10, 11 guys, but giving up 3 or 4 home runs and losing the ball game. So it didn't hurt my feelings that he lost, because I ain't got no love for him. But again, they leave for these big NIL payouts and leave you hanging. So I understand totally what Gary Gilmore is talking about. You spend all this time, recruiting a kid, signing him, building a relationship with him, and then he goes to the Cape, and then some school that, has a bunch of NIL money just comes up to him and says, hey man, we'll pay you this. And then he leaves his squad hanging. You certainly wouldn't want to, your players are getting poached. But like he said, I mean, come on. I mean, it's ridiculous. The system is broken and needs to be fixed. I mean, there needs to be some guardrails there where everybody is, it's more of an even playing field. There's still not going to be a completely even playing field. But, of course, a lot of this fallout, if they do go to full scholarships coming up with college baseball, that'll change a lot of things, because NIL money in college baseball is big, because a lot of times there's not full scholarships, or certain states like Alabama don't have an education lottery like they do in Louisiana and other neighboring states, in Tennessee. So again, college baseball is undergoing some changes. It's going to be really interesting to see how that all plays out.
All right, and it's kind of funny, too, because I believe Coastal Carolina is the last Group of 4 team to win the College World Series, if I'm not mistaken. Are they the last?
They won in 2016, so.
They're the last one, and you got to ask yourself, I mean, that would provide chaos if somebody would be able to do that on the football side.
Never happen.
Never?
Never.
What if they won just one playoff game?
No, that'll happen. But once when you're having to win about 3, no.
Right.
You're going to turn into Wofford.
Would that provide a lot of chaos, though, to the college football playoffs? If a Coastal Carolina-esque team wins a Sun Belt conference, or, like Troy and John Summerall, they had a fantastic year this past year. He parlays that into a job in Tulane. What if somebody like that comes along and wins just one playoff game?
Be huge for their program, but I don't see them ever making deep runs. And eventually, like I said, I think the group of 5 needs to expand along with the FCS and be their own division, I think, and then give people a chance to win a national championship. Now, won't be as much money as whenever the Power 4 or whatever it ends up being, the power schools, separate into their own division, but still, it'll be a national championship, and it'll still mean a lot to said schools. There'll still be money involved, but I just think overall that's that's where we're headed.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines right there, and it's interesting. Gary Gilmore is talking about $2 million for baseball NIL. So that's if you're wondering on football.
And I think
we
very
know
few schools are doing that in college baseball.
Well, it's
but
a handful.
There are a few.
I mean, you would have to imagine, and I'm just going to say, your LSU's. We know LSU has been very aggressive, and you look at the top 5 or 6 teams in college baseball right now. I mean, you say the same thing about the top 5 or 6 teams in college football as well. You can see everything is starting to rise to the top. The teams that are spending are getting to the top. I mean, Texas A&M probably spent money in college baseball as well. Texas,
LSU,
Tennessee. I know. I mean, Tony Vitello's been very aggressive in getting guys in there, and Coach Gilmore is right. The teams this is like Major League Baseball. If Major League Baseball did not have guardrails,
and they don't, so. And that's what he's talking about. You see the teams with the biggest payrolls, the Dodgers. Even though the Yankees haven't won anything in a long time, they've still had good seasons. But you've seen the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Rangers win it last year. The Dodgers. I mean, those are the ones spending the most money now. At one time, a few years back, with Scott Boris's connections, you saw that with the Nationals, but that's not the case really anymore. That's really turned into the Phillies, and that's why the Phillies are so good. They've spent tons of money. It's your power teams, and that doesn't mean you're going to win, because again, like last year, we saw the Braves, but the Braves are in the top 7 or 8. They're just not. There's a kind of a big gulf between your top 4 or 5 and everybody else.
Oh, there's a huge gulf. Yes,
a few years ago did win it. And the Padres have spent a lot of money, and they have underachieved. I mean, they
have.
It's what I've said many times with baseball. Baseball is the most hard. It's still the most unpredictable sport, because you can spend the most money and not win because of injuries, underperformance. I mean, it's just because you spend the most money doesn't mean you're going to win a championship.
All right, we're starting to find that out in college athletics.
Yeah.
Just because you spend a lot of money in the transfer portal doesn't guarantee you a national championship. Does it? Does it not? I don't know. Maybe. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll talk a little Alabama athletics. Nick Kelly next.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show. followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you are. Welcome back. Hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back in on a Monday morning. Monday, June 3rd. Can you believe we flipped the calendar to the month of June? And the month of June is busy month because, number one, camp season opens for the high school level. So a lot of these programs, college football programs, basketball programs, are opening their doors for recruits. They're a busy portion for the recruiting cycle right now. A lot of people trying to finalize rosters, baseball season ends, softball season ending. There's a lot going on, especially at Alabama right now.
There is, and who better to catch up with? He's been a busy guy. He's also gotten married in the last few weeks, so congratulations to him for that. He was at the spring meetings in Destin, Florida. He's also been very close to the basketball program. He was able to be along for the ride for their Final Four run and the aftermath, which has been really a tremendous story. And it's always great to catch up with the Tuscaloosa News Alabama beat writer, and that is Nick Kelly, who does a great job covering the Crimson Tide. Nick, great to catch up with you here in Huntsville. You're with Drew and Scott. Good morning to you, sir.
Hey, Drew. Hey, Scott. Good to be with you guys, and hope you're having a good Monday so far.
Yeah, we really are, and congratulations again on the marriage, man. Very well done, and really happy for you. And you've had a lot to write about. You've had a lot of great things to cover. You've covered the transition from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer. And Nick, I know you've been on this beat now 3 years, and I guess we'll start off with football. If you had told me, I don't know, 5 years ago, I always thought Coach Saban would maybe coach till his mid-70s. It kind of caught everybody off guard when he retired. But if you had told me this is how the transition would go, I would have said it was probably about as good as you could have hoped so far for having to fill the shoes of Nick Saban.
No doubt. Obviously, no football games have been played yet, and Kalen DeBoer has not yet coached a football game in Tuscaloosa. But there's a lot to like about what he's doing this offseason. He's winning the offseason in a lot of ways. He's saying the right things. He's doing the right things. But it's all going to come down to what happens on the field. So it's still a lot to be determined, but certainly he's winning what he can win right now.
No question. And obviously, Scott and I have been talking about NIL this morning, and teams spending money. Obviously, Alabama has stepped that up. They're doing what they have to do in football. Certainly, Alabama's been very active in this offseason. I know you were at the event in Birmingham. They were here in Huntsville as well, and they were in Mobile. So they were all over the state for, trying to continue to raise money for the programs. And it's obvious, too, and this kind of is piggybacking off Alabama's basketball success. Alabama makes the run to the Final Four, kind of a Cinderella-type run. But the aftermath has been the most fascinating with what Nate Oates has been able to do with all this momentum that has been created. What an offseason so far for Alabama basketball, putting together. And again, they haven't played a game yet, Nick, and they're just starting to work out together. But what a roster this could potentially be.
Without a doubt. I think when you talk about best-case scenario, this is probably about as best-case scenario as you can get. I mean, to me, it was, if you can get even a handful of these seniors back, you're going to be in a great spot. But they go and get Mark Sears back. They get Latrell Wrightsell back. They get Grant Nelson back. I mean, like, just talk about a really strong group that you're bringing back. And then getting Jaron Stevenson to withdraw from the draft and come back. To me, I wasn't sure what he was going to do. And I could have totally seen him going out just because he's a guy who has really high potential. He's young. Could be one of those guys that a team invests in that wants to draft. But he decided to come back. So I think that Alabama's roster could not have ended up much better. And that doesn't even mention the guys they added. I mean, Cliff Amore, huge piece, no pun intended. I mean, just a guy who just massive for them to get a rim protector like that. I mean, Nate Oates, he hinted at that for forever during the season, even that, hey, they need rim protection. So you don't have to be a super well-sourced insider to know that they were going to try to go get a rim protector. And they did, and they not only got one, but they got probably the best one that you could get. So home run just off season, the roster is stacked, and they've got, I mean, the problem is going to be how do you sift through essentially minutes and who plays and where they play. And so, I mean, Nate Oates has work cut out for him trying to figure out how to use these guys and how to manage these minutes and, frankly, personalities and egos and all the things that come with managing a roster full of talented guys. And so that's going to be a challenge, but I think most coaches would choose that challenge over the opposite of that.
No question.
Well, there's a lot of momentum, too, and Greg Byrne, spring meetings, of course, the conversation of the arena gets brought up. But Greg Byrne keeps hinting at this big announcement coming up soon in regards to the basketball program.
Yeah, he was pretty coy with me in terms of what that was going to be when I asked him about that. But no, I think that the biggest key that people needed to understand was when Nate Oates decided to stay at Alabama and not pursue Kentucky, is that there was still his salary was not changed in that moment. They pretty much did that when they extended him right before the SEC tournament. But there are things that you can show Nate Oates that basketball is valued and that he is valued, and there are different ways to do that. NIL is one of them. Facility upgrades is another. And that's the thing. Everyone focuses on the arena, and for good reason. But there are much cheaper, short-term things that can be done that aren't a massive new arena. So I think that's something that people need to keep in mind as some potential basketball news looms.
Well, and you were on the ground and were there for the entire run and there for the entire season. And I know you can let our listeners know that it was Nate Oates' decision. He could have pursued other jobs, but really kind of nipped all that in the bud when he got assurances from Greg Byrne and other power brokers around Alabama that they were going to take care of him. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that he made a concerted effort to show that he wants to be at Alabama. Now, of course, there's so many semantics of some of that, but no, Nate Oates wants to be here. I mean, it's not a matter of, this is just the best thing he can get. Like, he wants to be here. He has seen Alabama back up that there's an interest in basketball, and not just an interest, but a priority in it. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, it's one of those things where, you can coach a lot of different places, but if the place you're at doesn't prioritize the sport you're coaching, you probably don't want to be there. And Nate Oates has shown that, this is a spot where he can win at. This is a spot that he can be competitive at. I mean, you can take him to the Final Four. He can, and especially, I mean, that was the biggest thing with the NIL investment, as you talked about, Drew. Alabama has continued, and fans have continued to invest in supporting the basketball program, and that's so key if you want to compete in today's college basketball. College football as well, as you guys know. But and I think that Nate has felt that support, and I think that support has translated through. You see the strong roster they've built, and so no, I think that Nate Oates felt and feels he can win here, he can be successful here, and I think that's a big reason why he's still here.
Boy, it is June 3rd. We're just over a month away from SEC football media days, and we're talking still Nate Oates and how well this basketball roster is built. Nick, I don't ever remember a time when there was a time probably when Wimp was there that basketball was still parlayed, maybe late, but not like this, not to this extent.
No doubt. I mean, that's what's wild is that there's a legitimate chance that Alabama is ranked higher in basketball in the preseason polls than is football, which is such a wild concept. And that's not because football is going to be a mid-tier team. I mean, it's because Alabama basketball is going to be probably ranked 1 or 2. And those preseason polls, of course, are
right.
Take it for what they're worth. But it's just still, to your point, is such a significant shift. And basketball is up there. And I think the cool thing is it's not, okay, basketball has supplanted football, and it's, football's in the back burner now. I think it's just that there's a priority and interest in basketball. And frankly, because they've had success, that's a big piece, but also Naotes as a fun style of basketball. And I think that enough years now, people have enjoyed that. And even the casual, non-basketball junkie can enjoy it and be into it. And so I think that, it's quite a different shift. I mean, even for our coverage at this time of year, usually basketball wouldn't do that well in past years. But over the last couple of years, I can write about basketball now, and people will read it. This time of year, which is very different, very different.
No, it really is. And then the crazy part is, I know it's going to be official soon, but Nate Oates, he's been doing all this work and still has an assistant coach to name.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I think the big priority was getting the roster together because unlike last year when he had no assistants and he's doing it all himself, he needed to get people in the building. But now, he's got Preston Murphy, who everyone knows is an ace recruiter and is a huge part of them compiling a roster like they have. And they've still got Ryan Pannone and they've got Adam Bowman and Christian Pino and guys just that, help construct this team, help, just keep the program running well. They have all these guys who, are still there helping Nate. And so, it was one of those things where, obviously you'd like to have a third assistant on staff, but I think that his top priority was to get this roster compiled and then fully turn his attention to hiring an assistant.
And finally, before we let you go, and this is the last couple of minutes with Nick Kelly, we appreciate his time from the Tuscaloosa News. What was the biggest takeaway you had from SEC spring meetings? I know you were there the entire time. 97.7 The Zone was as well. But what did you take away there? What was your biggest takeaway from Sankey and everyone heading into football media days and, of course, the success of basketball and everything?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of concrete things to come out of it. Even less so than normal, and just because there's so much uncertainty right now with college athletics, and it was, kind of good timing with the House settlement and things to come out of that these coaches could get together. But I think a lot of it was just, okay, what the heck does this mean? And so there's a lot of people just asking questions, and that's what a lot of it was, and a lot of people just uncertain as to what this new era looks like and how these athletic directors manage their departments and manage their budgets and all those types of things. And so, sorry to give you a non-answer to that, but
it
wasn't really much. Frankly, that's what I got out of it. So, there's a lot of just kind of ambiguous. Just we'll see what happens. That's a favorite phrase of Greg Sankey of we'll see. So we'll see.
No question. We certainly see the good work that you do. Everybody, he just put out an article just in the last couple of days with 1,000 words on the entire roster for Alabama basketball. You can check that out on TuscaloosaNews.com. Nick, continued success, and we appreciate your time. We know even though it's the summer, you're busy, you're doing a lot of things, but we appreciate the time and look forward to catching up with you and let everybody know how to connect with you on social media.
Yeah, just that _ Nick Kelly and TuscaloosaNews.com is where you can check out our work. And Scott and Drew, just appreciate you having me, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it, Nick. Thank you, man.
And you asked Nick about SEC spring meetings, and I got asked that a couple times over the weekend was, hey, what's big news out of SEC spring meetings? And I'm like, well, the biggest news was they released the schedule for the first 3 weeks of the college football season.
Pretty much.
Look, SEC spring meetings, and I'll say this: the SEC network has done a great job in creating a lot of attention and buzz around the spring meetings. But all the spring meetings were for and designed for was for the coaches and the athletic directors and Greg Sankey to show up in one place and they discuss topics.
Yeah.
They don't have to make decisions. Lots of times they don't make decisions in the spring meetings. It's a place where they come and they talk about certain topics and they talk about issues. And they talk about, maybe the replay needs to be changed here or there, or maybe something needs to happen. But now with the state of college athletics, the NIL and everything going on, we think that they're going to come up with decisions at these meetings, and they don't. And so I think the expectation is we think that there's going to be news. We think that there's going to be big-time stuff coming out of these meetings. And in the coaches' minds and the AD's minds, it's still the same old spring meetings.
I think a lot of folks just go to the beach.
I agree with you there. No. But that's why the coach. That's why.
And it's more laid back than football media days, which is too much.
And
later,
that's why the ACC. Look where the ACC has theirs at the beach.
Oh, okay.
They have theirs on the East Coast beach. The SEC has theirs on the beach. Guys, it's a time for the coaches to come, and that's what the whole thing is.
Play golf and you go to the beach.
You go, you play golf, you relax a little bit, and then you converse with some.
Talking to Steve Moulton, he and Wes Neighbors were down there. I mean, Brian Kelly didn't even speak. I mean, he showed up at the meetings to go to the meetings, but he didn't speak to the media.
No, they don't have to. And that's the thing. There's nothing – and here's the thing with this. I mean, a lot of these coaches that have these little roundtable discussions, I mean, they're very gracious. But at the SEC Media Days, every coach that comes in will sit in front of the media at least twice.
Yeah.
They'll sit there in front of the whole entire media base, the big, huge room where – 900 media credential members will sit. One of them will sit in there and ask questions, and then they go to other rooms. So they'll do it 3 or 4 times, and they have to there.
The car wash,
so to speak. Yeah. And players go through it until they get frazzled or they've had enough.
Wow.
And still have to get that in there. But they do that. And that's the difference between SEC
How much
Media
NIL
Days.
money did he get, I wonder, to get frazzled?
That was before NIL money was NIL money. That was under the table hush money.
He was still getting NIL money. And if I was his left tackle, I'd be like, you get your ass unfrazzled or I'm going to let somebody break your ribs. What I'd be saying.
Oh, let's get a break in, shall we? 256-576-4977. You can join the program live from Bill Petty Toyota next.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
experienced and knowledgeable staff that can help you decide what size machine you need or what type of machine you need to get your job done like a pro. They have all the big items that the contractors need for their jobs, but they also carry the small tools that can help you with your DIY project. More importantly, Valley is locally owned and operated, which means when you have an issue, you can get someone on it right away, right here in the Valley. Heck, ask for Ross Roberts, the owner, if you like. Try calling one of the big box national outlets and ask for the owner. That's if you can even get through the automation. Buy local. Buy Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental has 2 locations, one on the North and South Parkway. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey Wes, we show up.
Hi folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
Hi, welcome back. Here we go. 8:21 on a Monday morning, and this just across the sports desk this morning. The Minnesota Vikings and Justin Jefferson have agreed to a new 4-year, $140 million deal. The deal will include $110 million of that guaranteed for the Minnesota Viking wide receiver.
No wonder Logan Asher wants to go to the LSU. They're getting paid.
Well, this does come on the heels, though. Remember, former Alabama wide receiver got the extension 4 or 5 days ago from the Dolphins, right?
Yeah, Jalen Waddle, he got $84 million. So,
yep.
$110 million guaranteed. Hopefully, Justin Jefferson will end up like Antonio Brown, broke. After making like $88 million. But that was his whole career.
Yes.
I mean, talking about guys getting paid, I'm sure Antonio's probably bitter about that because he didn't get paid like these guys are. But certainly Justin Jefferson has been arguably the best wide receiver in the league since he got up there. I mean, he had a tremendous career at LSU. Was a first-round pick from Minnesota and has gone out with Kirk Cousins and put up numbers every year. Got hurt a year ago, but he's a tremendous player. And now I'm sure CeeDee Lamb's going to want some of that money. He's been a big-time player for Dallas, so he'll probably be next on those that are trying to get paid. But Justin Jefferson, tremendous player.
Yeah, $110 million. And there you go. You mentioned CeeDee Lamb, and that is the next conversation as far as receivers who will get.
Well, Jerry's he's got to take care of some folks, man. He's got Micah Parsons. He's got
a lot of people
Lamb. He's got Dak Prescott, who's never won anything in the playoffs. I mean,
he's got a lot of people at the table that he's got to feed.
Yeah, he's got some folks that's wanting to get paid. So we'll see what happens with the Cowboys.
All right, Major League scores from yesterday. The Atlanta Braves
got a dub finally.
Yeah, solved the mystery that is the Oakland Athletics. Braves get a win 3-1 over Oakland. And I'll say this, though. Remember, even when Atlanta was rolling, I think even last year or a year before, Oakland was a thorn in the side of the Braves.
Well,
I mean, it's just something about the Oakland Athletics.
Yeah, they lost 11-9 on Saturday. I had a friend that went to that game. That was disappointing. They were down 8-3, came all the way back to get up 9-8, and the bullpen couldn't hold the lead. So the Braves take an L there. They're struggling a little bit, man. They've got so many injuries right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just – and that's what can decimate you in baseball too and that's another reason why baseball is the most hard to predict amongst basketball, football, baseball, because you never know year to year what kind of year a guy's going to have. Look at Acuna. Torn up his other knee now.
Yeah. Well, he was also trying to – I mean, his numbers this year –
yeah,
and we talked about it. Yes, we talked about it even before the injury that he was his MVP season last year was so spectacular that his numbers this year were okay, but compared to his MVP season of last year, they weren't even close to where he was producing.
Yeah, he hadn't gotten into a groove yet. He was trying to, and they lost him to injury. Ozzie Albies has been out some with injury, no question about that. So. We've seen the pitching staff be decimated with injuries, some as well. Smith Shawver just went down, even though he's a rookie, a younger guy. He just went down with an injury. So it's not been easy for the Atlanta Braves this year at all. They've had guys in and out of the lineup. Sean Murphy, guy that's an all-star caliber catcher.
Yes.
First at bat of the year, basically. He tweaks an oblique, and he's out 50 games. Think about that. You lose him for 50. So that's a third of the season. So it's just been really rough. The one good thing is they're not the Mutts.
Yes, and New York lost another game yesterday.
Dang.
Leading after 9 innings. I think
on
it's
a walk-off.
I want to say they've lost 6 or something like that, 6 or 7 of those in the last couple weeks.
I don't care. They've always been losers.
But the Philadelphia Phillies right now are tied with the New York Yankees.
They had a rare loss last night.
For the best record in Major League Baseball at 41-19. The Yankees are 42-19. The Phillies are 41-19 right now.
Well, and again, the Braves were rolling much of last year. And a lot of it just depends on how when are you going to get rolling? Are you going to be hot at the right time? Braves were a few years ago. They won the World Series. They got healthy at the right time. Even without Acuna, they still were able to piece together a good enough ball club and get hot. So a lot of times you may have a great record right now. You may be the best team in baseball, but it's not going to guarantee anything.
Well, how about our monthly check-in on the Chicago White Sox?
Oh, Lord.
The dismal Chicago White Sox, okay? They have now lost 11 in a row. They are 15-45. The next team that is even in contention to be in the worst team in baseball, the Rockies, the Marlins, and the Angels both have 21 wins. The White Sox are stuck at 15-45. And they have only scored 172 runs this season.
Yeah, they're bad, no doubt about it.
They have given up 310 runs as well. There is not a pitching staff in the majors that have given up more than the Chicago White Sox. Only the Miami Marlins have given up 300 well, I shouldn't say that. The Rockies have given up 317. My bad.
Yeah.
So they do not have the worst run differential. Well, the run scored against them. They don't have the worst in all of baseball. So they're at least not in the cellar in every category in there. But there you go. All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we will switch gears. And we will talk a little Auburn. How about you, Brian Matthews? Always good to talk to Brian Matthews. He'll join us next.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere. And to quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
That doesn't sound good.
Paper shredder's jammed, but I think I fixed it.
Oh, well, try shredding these $50 bills then.
Seems like it's working.
Better try another $400.
Stop. Instead of using money, use regular paper. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
I'm here today with Dr. Tracy Lowry of Veracity Vein Center. Now, how does someone suspect they have vein issues?
The most common symptoms associated with vein issues include leg heaviness, aching, and swelling, with some patients having visible veins as well. Vein issues can be easily diagnosed using ultrasound, with treatments performed as an outpatient using the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Both men and women have vein issues, though men may be more likely to ignore their symptoms when they're playing golf or walking the stadium steps. They too will benefit from correction of their vein problem. Patients can contact our clinics in Huntsville and new clinics in Madison and Coleman at 256-715-7151 or visit us at veracityweincenter.com.
Veracity Vein Center, Alabama's premier vein center.
Looking for your next game day party destination? Well, think outside the box and kick back at Flow Supreme Air. And you may be thinking, isn't that the trampoline place? Of course it is. But it's also the one-stop spot for all things fun. And if kicking back with the boys to watch the game is your jam, then you're in the right spot. Jump or not, Flow tends to all ages, meaning while you sit back and watch the game, but little Jimmy's having the time of his life perfecting that front flip he most definitely wants to show you. You got this, Jimmy. So next time you think Flow, think fun for everyone.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Listen weekday afternoons starting at 5 on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's perfect!
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back into the program on a Monday morning. We're live from Bill Penny Toyota Service Department. Always good to be out here on a Monday. Their doors opened at 7 a.m. and the line to get in was fantastic. So a lot of people getting their vehicle serviced on a Monday. The Auburn Tigers been busy as well. Bruce Pearl, I think the roster is complete. Every time we think the roster is complete for Bruce Pearl, he brings somebody else in. But a few days ago, they added another piece to that roster. And we talked about how good Alabama's roster is. Well, Auburn should be ranked inside the top 15 as well when the college basketball season begins next year. Preseason expectations good there. And Hugh Freeze busy as well, fine-tuning everything.
Yeah, he really is. And, of course, summer camps are underway. Recruiting is a big topic. And, of course, Auburn is coming off of just last week a historic run to their first golf championship in school history on the men's side. What a year for the Auburn Tigers men's golf team. We're going to talk about that and more with our next guest, who has been covering the Tigers since 2001. He works for, of course, Auburn undercover. Excuse me, I knew I'd do that. AuburnSports.com, part of the Rivals Network. Got to keep them all straight. But he does work for Rivals. He has for a long time for AuburnSports.com. He does a great job as their editor-in-chief, and that is Brian Matthews. Brian, welcome back to Huntsville. You're with Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Oh, thanks for having me in, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and interesting, this was a topic we had in the first hour of the show. I know you had a chance to sit down with him while he was on campus. We were talking about Logan Anderson, the jumbo athlete from Fife High School, what a dominant force he's been, 4-5 for the Red Devils. They've won 7 state titles in 10 years. He's really – they've had a lot of really good players, but he's really the first that we thought might have a chance to be a big-time SEC-type athlete. I know his brother Peyton was on the Auburn squad as a walk-on for a short period of time. But Logan Anderson got another year at Fife. He's going into his senior year. But, man, sounds like he had an impressive workout at Auburn this weekend.
Yeah, and really an impressive workout over the weekend at Georgia, too. At Auburn specifically, he ran, I think, a 4.44 and a 4.46 in the 40, and then went out there at, around – he's a legit 6'2", 215, and worked out with the linebackers. Saw him working one-on-one with DJ Durkin for most of the day, so it was clear that there was a lot of interest, from Auburn and him, and then he was offered afterwards. And, I think he's a pretty exciting prospect, a guy. If you look at his frame, he can certainly put on more weight. I think, of course, he's been an incredible running back at Fife for the last several years. I think it was 45 rushing touchdowns last year, if I remember what I wrote yesterday. I wrote so many stories yesterday, it's hard to remember all of them, but I think it was close to 3,000 yards, and also was a standout on defense. And I think Auburn likes him as sort of a inside linebacker. Feels like he can get bigger and stronger, and a guy that can really attack the line of scrimmage with his speed.
A lot of faces at this camp. This is a busy time for Coach Freeze, bringing a lot of guys in now, a very busy time.
Oh, yeah. Over the next 2 weeks, of course, they had 8 official visitors this weekend. They'll have about 24 more over the next 14 days or so. They've got another 4 or 5 prospect camps coming in. I would say they probably had about 4 to 5 prospects at the camp Sunday, and another few just unofficial visitors that were there to hang out, maybe have private workouts and such. So, yes, it's going to be a very busy recruiting time for Auburn, and I think the official visit weekend went really well, especially with some guys like the Caleb Cunningham, the 5-star receiver, the number 3 wide receiver in the country from Mississippi. He left St. Auburn with his leader, with some big visits to come, of course.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know Cunningham's a big target. Who are some of the other guys? I know you said you got a chance to interview several kids. Who were some of the other storylines that were big coming out of the weekend of recruiting for Auburn?
Yeah, we talked to all 8 of them and have stories up on our site. But Naheem Offord is the number 2 quarterback in the country from right out there in Birmingham. Very talented. One of those guys that you look at, you watch him on film, and he's you put him one-on-one, he takes away half the field and allows you to make adjustments on defense. He's that type of player, in my opinion. Committed to Ohio State. Auburn is recruiting him very, very hard. And then they had another cornerback, Blake Woodby, who's I think number 6 cornerback in the country. He was committed to Ohio State, decommitted, and I think Auburn's in really good shape for Blake coming out of that. He wants to take more visits, I believe, including maybe some this fall. But Auburn feels really good about their chances. One guy I love, if you watch his tape, if you love to watch linebackers blow up pulling guards, go watch Elijah Melendez from Kissimmee, Florida. He is very physical and fast. Currently committed to Miami, the number 2 linebacker, interior linebacker in the country. I think Auburn made a strong push for him. Broderick Schultz, a big offensive tackle from Bixby, Oklahoma. I'd say Auburn's probably the team to beat and the leader for him coming out of that visit. Got a couple more left before his decision. I think Auburn made a push for Mary Winston, the tight end out of Calhoun, Georgia, who's committed to Texas. Then Kalen Edwards, the big nose guard from Tennessee, former Auburn commit, came back for an official visit this weekend. We'll see. He plans to visit, I think, Louisville and Georgia over the next couple of weeks, and we'll see how that one ends up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, there's no question that that Auburn is making some inroads with some big-time players. No question. And Alford, he's still committed to Ohio State. Is that correct?
He is. And, he's not the one to, go into a lot of detail about where he's leaning or how he's feeling or, but from everything we got this weekend, it was a very, very good weekend for Auburn recruiting, and they're definitely in the mix for Alford, and we'll just have to see how things develop. We've got a ways to go until that early signing period in December.
Yeah, no question. And then, I know they're also prioritizing the offensive line, and I know you had a chance to catch up with Broderick Scholl. He's another one that that's a 4-star level guy. I know Alabama's trying to get 5 or 6 offensive linemen. I know that's an area where Hugh Freeze, ever since he got to Auburn, they attacked it in the portal for year one, but they're definitely trying to attack the high school level now.
They are. They want to get 5 or 6 offensive linemen too. They've already got, I think it's 3 committed. Ty Buster was there, one of the commitments. Carday Smith from Mobile's committed. Tavares Dice, probably a guard from Fairburn, Georgia's committed. And then I feel as strong about Broderick Scholl than I do about anybody coming out that weekend as far as Auburn's chances. I think he really likes Auburn. We talked to some other recruits there about Scholl, and they mentioned, that Auburn was in good shape for him. He's still, let's see, is it Texas Tech and one other visit left. I think 2 more left, and then he'll have a final decision. But I really like Auburn's chances going into this stretch run for him.
Yeah, no doubt. And then what about this run for the golf team for Auburn? I mean, they won 10 tournaments. They were the most dominant team in the country. I know it was one heck of a final with Florida State, and really the semifinals, the last 2 victories that were to seal this national championship. But what a special run for Auburn golf to win their first national championship in the fashion that they did, and really prove beyond a shadow of a doubt they were the best team in the country.
They really did. Incredible run. Thrilling to me. I saw it watching it on TV. Final against Florida State that went down to the wire with J.M. Butler, a senior, winning that final match there and, clinching the title. And, of course, Jackson Colvin has had an incredible, run for a freshman. Yeah. I think he's won. I don't know how many awards he's won, but I think he sort of swept the postseason awards in men's golf there, and they've even got the number 1 junior coming in as a freshman next year. So you got to feel like this team hasn't quit yet. I mean, they've still got a chance to continue this little run here. So it was a great thing to see. And I wrote a little bit about celebrations returning to Toomer's Corner and how important that was to Auburn too. And that was nice to see. Last week after the championship.
Yeah,
So golf wins that national championship. And I tell you what, though, I did feel bad for the freshman because the video, you can see, the video's been shown all over. He would have won an individual title, so close to winning an individual title. But this just tells you how one shot makes a difference in golf. His ball goes into the cup, Drew, hits the pin, bounces out, and rolls completely off the green. He almost holed it in from the fairway, but ends up going into the bunker because it hits the pin and rolls completely off the green.
Oh, man, that's rough. That's golf for you. That's why it's the most maddening sport. It's about the only thing that went wrong, though.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. Exactly.
Yeah, Nick Clinyard getting his first championship.
And Bruce Pearl, just when we think the roster is done, he brings in another talented individual.
Yes, and I think the roster is actually done now, finally. Brought in Miles Kelly from Georgia Tech, a 2-3 guard. Not the perfect fit. I think that they would have loved to have a 1-2, a backup point, but they've got Denver Jones who can play some point guard. Todd Pettiford coming in can play some points. So, they've got some options there. But Miles Kelly is a real scorer, got long range on his three-point shot, had a really strong sophomore year at Georgia Tech. Last year he got a little banged up and injured. A new coach came in. I don't think the system really fit him as well as it had before, so he had a bit of a struggle last year. Still averaged pretty high in points, though. So I think Auburn's getting a really talented guy that can come in and compete for playing time or be like the number one guy off the bench as sort of a sixth man there that can play the two or the three. And I think him, J.P. McGee from Furman, who to me was the most important pickup, and then Miles Kelly, kind of a real force inside, a guy who can rebound and defend and get a lot of putbacks, that kind of player. I think they're going to fit him well to what Auburn's doing now. I think this is going to be one of Bruce Pearl's best rosters going into this season. It should be a very, very competitive team.
Yeah, no question. And then what has the fallout been from Auburn baseball? I know they didn't have the year they wanted. It was disappointing they didn't get to Hoover and get to postseason. I know the portal's already whirling, though. They've already had a couple of left-hand pitchers hit the portal.
Yeah, and you're going to see that. I think Stanfield's probably going to jump into the portal here soon. It opens officially today. Yeah. So, I think the baseball team sort of needs a reset. They're going to have to reload on some pitching. They signed a top 5 class back in November. I think 12 of those guys were pitchers. The top 3 or 4 players in that class were pitchers. So there is some help coming in that regard, but they're going to have to get some veteran guys in to help out. But I guess the biggest news in the last week for baseball is Ike Irish announced he was returning. So that's a really big left-handed bat right in the middle of the lineup that you can build, next year's team around.
Yeah, no doubt. And as far as it goes with Auburn football, I know you said there's more camps coming up, and I know this entire month of June, I would think, would be a huge recruiting. Is there how big a weekend is it coming up for Auburn recruiting wise?
Yeah, they've got one guy coming in midweek for officials. They've got, I think it's Thursday, Friday, they got back-to-back 7-on-7 camp, then another elite camp over the weekend, and I think we're expecting right now about 5 or 6 official visitors next weekend. And then the following week, you're going to have a half dozen guys on Monday, more on Wednesday, and then maybe a dozen guys on the weekend along with some more camps. So overall, I think they're going to pack in over 30 visitors in this 2-week, official visitors in this little two-week window, and try to end it on the 16th. And then, take off a little time there, and then try to have that next big recruiting weekend at Big Cat here at the end of July. So it's going to be sort of just a race to the finish here over the next 13 days.
Yeah, it really will. It's going to be great. Well, we know you're going to be all over it, Brian, over at auburnsports.com, part of the Rivals Network. Let everybody know how to follow your work, and you guys will have it completely covered with all the recruiting and camp intel coming out of from the Plains.
That is our plan, and we've got updates on all the official visitors and some camp offers, too, on the site right now at auburnsports.com. You can check out our site. Put up the Monday Musings this morning, which is sponsored by Uncle Keith's Red Sauce, which is delicious, homegrown right here in the state of Alabama. And you can follow me on Twitter/X and Threads at BMATAU.
Well, we appreciate it, Brian. Thanks for the intel, man.
Are you going to have some of that Are you going to have some of that sauce there at SEC Media Days?
Actually, the one in Dallas, I don't think I'm going to be there. So, but I can actually arrange to have some sent to you guys. So,
there we go.
There we go.
How about that?
There we go.
We'll take some.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, y'all take care.
All right. Same.
There you go.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, your tomorrow's headlines will wrap us up live from Bill Penny Toyota.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Vandy Man. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show. followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
And the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We told you about it about 20 minutes ago. Yep. And that was the Minnesota Vikings and Pro Bowl wide receiver Justin Jefferson, new contract. Here is a little bit more courtesy of Adam Schefter of ESPN. The $140 million contract extension includes $110 million guaranteed, makes him not only the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history, but the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. His deal includes $88.743 million due at signing.
There you go.
The highest non-quarterback guarantee signing in NFL history, and it does reset the wide receiver market.
And CeeDee Lamb is hoping to cash in on that now. And Jerry Jones probably stuck his head in the toilet because then that means even more money he's got to come off of.
So Justin Jefferson, Jalen Waddle, Nico Collins.
Yeah, Nico Collins got paid.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Michael
Don't forget,
Pittman.
Because Nico Collins is from Alabama. He was a star at Pinson Valley, so he had a heck of a career. Or excuse me, Clay Chalkville. Let me correct myself. Clay Chalkville. Yeah, he had a heck of a career and went on to play with Jim Harbaugh in Michigan. And it hasn't been as it wasn't instantaneous when he got to the NFL, but he's had a steady rise, man.
You got CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Amari Cooper, maybe.
Amari, it's hard to believe. Amari's already in his 10th year, man. He's been paid a few times. He's with Cleveland, unfortunately, for him. But
those are deals that still may come.
Yeah,
Not saying they will, but deals that
he's been very, very productive though. So we'll see.
All right, 256-576-4977. You can join us as we have a couple minutes left here.
Makes me wonder what Tyreek Hill is going to do, because he keeps saying he was going to retire when he sees these receivers being paid this kind of money. You know, and then he saw his compatriot Jalen Waddle get $84 million. So we will see. But wow, $88 million plus guaranteed for Justin Jefferson. Quite an accomplishment.
The Atlanta Braves are off today.
And they're still nursing more injuries. We didn't even mention Spencer Strider out for the year.
Yeah, so Tuesday to Wednesday, this is what that's going to look like when they kick off their Boston series. Max Fried will get the start on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Spencer Schwallenbach.
Yeah.
He's going to get the start. It'll be his second major league start after impressing everyone in his debut on Wednesday, which, by the way, was just his third game above high A.
Well, yeah, he's been a fast riser, no doubt about it. Austin Riley's missed time with injuries. This Braves team just needs to get healthy. They're trying to kind of tread water right now. Luckily for them, Ozuna's been really good.
And did you see this over the weekend? You remember Fluff?
Yeah.
Tiger Woods' caddy forever. He was Tiger's first caddy coming up in the pro ranks. Excuse me, he was on the bag.
Yeah.
To start Tiger's run. Mm-hmm. He slips and falls in the Canadian Open. He can't finish. And he was CT Pan. He was caddying for CT Pan.
Right.
Fluff can't finish. So they enlisted a fan. They brought a fan out of the gallery.
Oh, wow.
To help him caddy the rest of the way.
That was just a ringer?
No, it wasn't a ringer.
Okay.
It wasn't like they planted him in the crowd and said, come on out.
I wondered.
No.
Make a phone call.
They just got a casual fan out of the gallery and had him finish the round.
Nice. Hope Fluff's okay.
I hope he is too, but can you imagine, though, just going to the Canadian Open and all of a sudden you're just caddying for a...
I'd like to know some more about that. I don't necessarily buy it. I think he probably knew somebody.
You think he did? You think he knew someone in the crowd?
No question. I think he got a text.
Judging by this dude's looks, I don't know.
I don't know.
Look, I mean, that's the guy they brought in. I mean, he's not like... I'm just saying. All right. They don't have ringers here at Bill Penny Toyota. They got service technicians that are very smart. And they'll service your vehicle, and we thank them for letting us sit here for 2 hours. We'll be in studio tomorrow.
At Mad Daddy's Burger Bar, we love baseball almost as much as we love serving up the best and baddest burgers around. People have called